Turn it off. The phone's coming out of your hands.
It's not.
Ask you to leave.
There's a lot of government buildings that say you can't record.
There's a chance you could be filming victims of crimes and all that, which they have to protect the victims of crimes.
I just want to know if I'm detained, because I'd like to get out of here.
You're being detained.
I'm still detained. It doesn't work that way.
I'm a court administrator, and I'm also a law enforcement officer.
How are you a law enforcement officer and a court administrator?
Why does that concern you?
Because impersonating a law enforcement officer is a crime, sir.
Then you can go file charges against me. I'm a law enforcement officer.
Are you able to just delete the video that when you were inside? You can keep the recording of when you were outside talking with us.
Well, no, unless I'm being forced to under threat of arrest or threat of contempt, I'm not going to. Just it's my right to record.
Welcome back to ID Refusal Central. Today, we're taking you to Perrysburg, Ohio, where a simple public records request turns into a constitutional nightmare. A court administrator loses control, threatening to seize cameras, while police officers demand footage be deleted right on the spot. This incredible encounter comes from Long Island Audit. He is a relentless defender of transparency, so please go subscribe to his channel, the link is in the description below, and tell him we sent you. Get ready, because the way authority is abused in this video is going to make your blood boil.
Hey, what's up guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another installment of Throwback Thursday. Today's audit takes place at the Perrysburg Municipal Courthouse in the state of Ohio, where a court administrator threatens to arrest me and law enforcement attempts to delete my footage from my camera. Let's get into it. We are immediately greeted with our friendly reminders that the government is always recording us, even though it always seems to be an issue when we, the people, record the government. Thing that talks about the First Amendment. No, ma'am, thank you. I appreciate that, though. Thank you.
We do have a local court rule that we don't allow videoing in the courthouse.
In the courthouse?
Yes.
Where is that rule?
It's if you go to our website, which is perrysburgcourt.com. There, when you're on the homepage, there's a blue box that has some things you can choose from. One of those says local court rules. It'll download I think it's like 75-page PDF of the local court rules, and it will tell you in there. I want to say it's.
And it's not for the courtrooms, it's for the courthouse?
It's for the courthouse.
Why wouldn't that be posted anywhere here?
Because it's on a local court rules, so you can get it on our website. So,
right. What if somebody didn't have access to the internet? You know, how would anybody know? Why wouldn't it be posted, the rule here?
Well, that's why we come out and tell people that.
Right.
That they're not permitted to video in the courthouse.
Is that a rule that the city implemented?
That would be a rule that the court or the judge implemented.
The court or the
city
judge?
Doesn't handle the court. The court is run by the judge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's just my opinion that rule's for anti-transparency. What's the purpose of the rule?
That was not my rule. That's something you would have to ask the judge about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to continue. I'm an independent journalist. What was your name?
I'm Carrie.
Carrie, my name is Sean. I'm an independent journalist. Yeah, I'm just taking some pictures of video of the publicly accessible areas. I don't want to go in the courtroom or anything like that.
Okay.
So I understand that there's some rule, but I'm just going to continue to exercise my rights.
Okay. Well, I mean, if the court bailiff comes up, then he'll handle it with you as well. But yes, that is one of our local court rules. If you want, I can print out the local court rules for you so you can see them.
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Turn your camera off.
Excuse me, sir.
Turn your camera off.
Who are you?
Not allowed to record in here.
Who are you, sir?
I'm the court administrator. Turn it off.
I just want to know who you are. What's your name?
Turn it off.
Do you see the difference between you and the woman that just came out here?
I'm going to tell you one more time, and then you
What's
can
your
get
name,
arrested.
sir? Arrested for what?
Disorderly conduct, obstructing official business.
I'm not obstructing anything. This is my First Amendment right. You're not even a law enforcement officer,
You
sir.
don't have a First Amendment right in this building.
Of course I do.
You're not allowed to.
This is not the United States of America?
Turn it off.
Are you a law enforcement officer, sir?
Yes. Yes.
You are a law enforcement
Yes.
officer? So you can effect arrests?
Yes. Turn it off.
I would like to speak to the bailiff downstairs. I'd like to speak to an actual law enforcement
I'm the court
officer.
administrator, and I'm also a law enforcement officer.
How are you a law enforcement officer and a court administrator?
Why does that concern you?
Because impersonating a law enforcement officer is a crime, sir.
Then you can go file charges against me. I'm a law enforcement officer.
This is a critical moment. Under Ohio Revised Code and most state laws, impersonating a peace officer is a criminal offense. A court administrator manages logistics, not law enforcement. Claiming police powers to intimidate a citizen creates a dangerous legal liability for the city.
Why are you filming in the building?
That
You're not
probably
allowed
would have
to
been your
film in the
first
building.
question that you could have asked me instead of coming to me so aggressively. What's your name, sir?
Scott.
Scott. My name is Sean. I'm an independent journalist. All I'm doing
You're not
is...
allowed to record in this building. It's a local court rule.
And the clerk is getting me the rule so I can look at it. There is no signage,
meantime,
Scott. There is no
turn your phone
signage.
off.
There is no signage that is posted here for me to know. So she's getting me the court rule so I can look at it and be aware. I need to be advised of
Turn your phone off.
but I need to be advised of the rule and see the rule. I just want to read the rule.
You do not.
Yes, you do. You have to be made aware of the rule. This is not a crime.
I'm telling you what the rule is.
Due process requires that laws and rules be accessible to the public so they know how to comply. By ordering the clerk not to show the written rule, the administrator is arguably violating the auditor's due process rights under the 14th Amendment, turning a public rule into a secret command.
Hey, sir, how are you?
Right
Good, how
now.
about you?
Turn it off.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to de-escalate. There's no law being
I don't
broken
care
here.
what you would like me to do.
Okay, so
I'm
why should I care what you
repeatedly
like?
asking you
She's
because
getting me
it's
the
a local
rule.
court
She's
rule.
getting me the court rule to read.
Okay, listen.
Okay, the phone's coming out of your hands.
It's not. That would be a violation of my rights. You have I'm not breaking any law, sir. Why would the phone come out of my hand?
Let me ask you something. What's your business here today?
Yeah, I was just going to ask some questions to the clerk, and I'm an independent journalist. I explained to...
Alright guys, so unfortunately my camera malfunctioned and stopped the recording. I didn't notice at first because I am looking directly at the person I'm talking to, not my camera. When I did notice, I immediately began recording again. I take full responsibility. I should have had my body camera on me. I won't make this mistake again. The missing footage only contains more of me being polite and asserting my constitutional rights to the court administrator who had been hostile with me from the start.
No one's asked me to leave.
No, Scott's asking.
I just did a minute ago.
No, you did not. You
No,
said to turn off the phone.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I see the rules?
You can get online.
I missed the chance to see the rules? Are you kidding
Before we
me?
get this figured out, I'm going to ask you to leave, okay?
All right, I'll wait for the PD. That's the first time. I want to make it clear. The first time someone's asked me to leave. You told me a million times to turn off the phone.
You didn't listen.
Sorry, ma'am. It's absolutely ridiculous the way you guys are acting today. Really. Especially you, Scott.
I don't really care.
All right,
I think
that's
this
fine.
is ridiculous. All you had to do was shut your phone off.
All you had to do was show me the rules. She printed out the rules. She was very nice to me. And she said, I will show you the rules. And I said, okay, no problem. And she has them printed out. You say, don't show it to him.
No, you missed that chance.
She has the rules printed out, and you don't show it to
with
him.
that earlier.
What do you mean? I never saw the rule.
I don't have to show you the rule.
Hi, ma'am. How are you? I'm going to talk to you outside.
Okay, well, turn off the camera, the recording here.
Yeah, I'm outside. I can record. So I'm just going to go outside and record.
But you're not stopping the recording now.
But I'm going outside.
They asked you to stop the recording prior to this.
Right. But that's not. But that wasn't a law. Listen. I want to explain to you outside. So that way there's no confusion here. Can I get your name and badge number, ma'am?
Yes, it's Officer Parcel, badge number 91.
Okay, officer. I just want to explain to you exactly. Well, I was there, so I just want to explain to you exactly what happened. So I just went upstairs. I'm an independent journalist. My name is Sean. I'm an independent journalist. I was asking questions. A clerk came up to me very nicely, and she said, "Sir, we have a local rule here, not a law, a rule, which judges enforce rules, not law enforcement." So she said, "We have a local rule here that you cannot record." I said, "Is that in the courthouse, or is it itself, or is it in the courtroom? Because some rules say the courtroom, some rules say the courthouse." She said, "It's the courthouse." I said, "Well, would you mind if I take a look at that rule?" She said, "No problem. I'll go print it out for you." That was the interaction. She left. Scott, the court administrator, came out and said, "Turn off your phone." He started escalating the situation, started freaking out. And me doing nothing wrong, all I said was, "I'm waiting for the rule. I want to see the rule. I need to be advised of the rule." That's why usually when there's no recording in places, they have signage. Due to local rule, blah, 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 you cannot record in here. So I said, I was waiting for the rule. That's it. So he starts telling me, turn off your camera now. He tells the bailiff to take my phone, all these other things. I said, I have a First Amendment right. He said he was law enforcement. I don't know how a court administrator is law enforcement. Some probably you should look into, somebody impersonating law enforcement. He said he was law enforcement. I don't know. But all I said was, I want to see the rule. That's it. The woman comes out very nicely. She says, here's the rules. He says, no, don't give it to him. And then the bailiff says, well, now I'm going to ask you to leave. And that's when you saw me coming down the elevator, and I said, okay, I'll wait for law enforcement outside. That's all that's going on here. There's nothing, I'm not being disorderly, I'm not doing anything unlawful.
Called is they told you need to stop recording, and then when you didn't, they told you that you need to leave.
No. That's why I have it all recorded, ma'am. Okay. This is exactly why I record my interactions with government officials. And when I was told to leave, all Scott ever did, the court administrator, would say, turn off your phone. He told the bailiff to take my phone. The bailiff said, I'm not going to take his phone because I don't want to violate his rights. Let's wait for the local PD to come. So I said, okay, let's wait for them. And then the bailiff says, well, you can get charged with criminal trespassing. And I said, well, no one's asking me to leave. He's like, well, I'm going to ask you to leave right now. And I said, okay, if you're asking me to leave, I'll wait for PD outside. That's it. I travel around the country. I investigate governments. This is what I do. I'm an activist. I work with law enforcement as well on First Amendment rights. If there's a rule, I just wanted to see it. I don't think that was too unreasonable of a request. I don't know if somebody's lying to me or not.
So they should have them posted.
Right.
And I can't tell you right now off the top of my head where they're posted. I know that
they're not.
Them posted on our buildings. You can't record inside any of the city buildings, so there should be their own recorded. Can you check to see where their signs are posted? Saying that you can't record like how we have them.
Ma'am, I'm telling you, I was in there and there's no signs. And then when I'm asking the court administrator, who's in charge of the regulations of this building, enforcing them anyway, I told him, I said, where are the signs? He says, I don't have to post anything for you. And I said, well, can I at least see a copy? And the clerk, she was very nice. She said, here's the copy, sir. And as she was giving me the copy of the rules so I could read it, he says, nope, he ordered her not to give it to me. Does that make any sense? If you want me to understand a rule and know that a rule exists, you would let me see the rule. Okay, there's no rule. Okay, there is a rule. I'm not trying to be held in contempt of court, violate a judge's rule. I know I'm not going to get anywhere with that. Like I said, this is what I do. I promote transparency in government. That's all I'm asking for. I was asking questions. What services do you provide to the public? Just to see. That's it. If I would have seen a sign with a law or rule attached to it, I would have questioned the constitutionality of it, but that was something that I would do in a federal lawsuit. And again, the first time I was asked to leave, and I have it all on recording, the first time I was asked to leave, I started making my way towards the elevator. Because my objective here is not to get arrested and that's not what I want. To file lawsuits. People are like, oh, you just want you want us to violate your rights so you can file a lawsuit. No, I don't. I don't want you to violate my rights, and I don't want to be arrested. I'm here to promote transparency.
Sounds like there's some miscommunication.
Right. Sounds like somebody's lying, and that's why I record my interaction with law enforcement. Sir, you mind if I get your name and badge number?
Yeah. Name's Officer Lord. Badge number is 33.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you. Did you see the signs?
1 second, so I can talk to him.
You want me to talk there and then?
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah. Just to make it clear to everybody, there are no signs posted anywhere.
Yeah.
And like I said, ma'am, it's all recorded. So if they want to say that if they want to lie against me and say like, oh, we told them multiple times to leave. They told me multiple times to turn off the recording. It is not inherently illegal. I will admit that. They told me multiple times to turn off the recording, but it's not inherently illegal. And plus, if he's law enforcement, I have a right to film law enforcement. You know that. So he said he identified himself as law enforcement.
Film law enforcement. I have no problem. That's why I'm letting you record me while we're outside. The issue is that, like I said, for all the city buildings, which this is attached to our city, the police department, is attached to the municipal building, which is the city offices. There's postage saying that you cannot record inside.
Right.
So, but
there's not anything posted here. You have to advise people by being posted.
That there's rules against the court that you don't have to have that posted. So he's printing off that information. We're going to get that information, and we'll go from there on what they want to do. But basically, there's a lot of government buildings that say you can't record, and they don't have to have postings inside or outside saying that.
Well, they do. Okay.
That's something that's just
fine. Like I said, I film in a lot of government buildings across the country, and it's just for transparency, asking questions of my government, and You know, some of them say you can't. In the NYPD, they say you can't. I got a federal judge to say you can. Again, if it has to go that way, it has to go that way. I left when told to leave. The rule is not a statute that you can arrest me for. It's not a statute. It's not something it's not at least that I know of. I've never heard of this rule, but it's not a statute. You don't get charged with it.
Have like their own.
Right. But the judge is the ones that enforce it, not local law enforcement. The judge is the one that, it would be a contempt of court charge.
They would still be involved in this. Like their concern is that they ask you to leave.
That's not true. It's not true.
And that didn't happen. So then, of course, they're going to call us.
That's not true. So am I being detained at this time? I just want to know. Okay.
Like I said, we're trying to figure out.
Can I speak to a supervisor as well? That's all right. There's one available.
91 to 83. Are you available to stop over here? He's requesting to speak with a supervisor.
The differences between the court administrator and the clerk. All she said was, you can't record in here, sir. I understand. If you have any questions, I can answer you. I said, well, can I see the rules? She said, yeah, not a problem. She goes to get the rules, and in the meantime, while she's getting the rules so I can look at them and comply with the rules, if I don't want to, piss off a judge, it's not my intent. So I wanted to make sure they exist. Some people say things that aren't true. Right? Some people say things that aren't true. They'll say, well, I've been in that scenario a lot of times. They'll say, you can't record in here. And I'll say, well, what's the law or the statute? And they'll be like, you just can't record in here. And then they call the police department. The police department says, well, actually, you can record in here. It's a public building. So if I just complied with anybody telling me something, I would never exercise my constitutional rights. Some people are ignorant and they say things that aren't true. Sometimes they are true. I just wanted verifiable fact that it was true or not. I just wanted to, and the clerk was so nice about it. And she comes with the paper to hand it to me, and he's like, nah, don't give it to him. Does that make any sense? If you want to enforce a rule, or if you're thinking that I'm breaking a rule, why wouldn't you want me here, sir? Here's the rule that you're breaking. Now, if you don't comply with breaking the rule, if you don't comply with our rule, then you're going to be in some sort of trouble or whatever.
No, I get it. That's why I asked the other officer.
Hey, sir, how are you?
Good, how are you?
My name is Sean. Do you mind if I get your name and badge number?
It's Sergeant McGuffin with number 83.
Sergeant, so the problem I'm having here is that, I walked inside, I am a First Amendment activist. I ask questions. I'm an independent journalist. I told you my name is Sean. I was just asking some questions of people inside. A clerk came out. She was very nice. She said, sir, there's a local rule that you cannot record for the courthouse. And I said, okay, can I see the rule? And she said, sure, let me go get you a copy of it. So I waited where I was. While she's there, a court administrator says, turn off your phone now, starts freaking out on me, escalating the situation. And
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Where was your phone pointed? Was it in towards the windows where they have all the paper?
Well, no, I was far away. I didn't even go up to the windows. No, in the courtroom. No. I asked her that.
You're at the windows.
No, I was in front. I was when you first walk in from the elevator, that's it. And I asked her, I said, can I see the rules? Because I've dealt with this before. Sometimes it says the courtroom, sometimes it says different places. So I just wanted to clarify what it was. Sometimes people tell me you can't record and they have no idea what they're talking about. So I just said, okay. And the cops and the police come and they're like, well, he can record, right? So I just wanted to see the rules. So she said, yeah, she was very nice. She said, sure, no problem. Then Scott comes out and he's like, I'm a law enforcement officer. I'm telling you to stop recording. And I was like, can I see the rule? He's like, no, you're not going to see the rule. The administrator comes out, the clerk comes out, excuse me, and she says, here are the rules, sir. And I said, oh, okay, thank you. And he's like, no, don't give him the rules. There's nothing posted, sir. There's nothing that would make me understand or know that there is a rule other than somebody telling me, and they could be lying. It's not a law enforcement officer. It's not you. It's not somebody official. Some guy in a suit telling me that.
That's the clerk of court or the chief bailiff.
Right. But again, I had no idea. So he told me he's a court administrator. I think he's some sort of administrator. And then at the end of the day, he's not a law enforcement officer. He can't effect arrests outside of the courthouse.
He signs warrants and all that.
Right.
So he is the chief bailiff.
Right. So all I was saying is that, and then once one of the bailiffs inside said, all right, until we figure this out, leave until we figure this out. And I said, all right, no problem. I'll leave. I'll wait for law enforcement. He said, we called law enforcement. The bailiff says, I don't want to violate your rights. Let's figure this out. Let's, we could look at the rule, because sometimes rules have specific areas in the courthouses.
That would be my guess. My understanding would be not in a courtroom or anywhere that window.
Right.
There's a lot of sensitive information on the back side of that window.
Right. Well, going up to the window, I did not do. Again, I was looking at the window. I was looking at different things that are on the window. I didn't go past the window. I'm not trying. That my intent is not. I identify. My name is Sean. I work with law enforcement across the country on First Amendment activism rights, on our rights.
And you still have yet to see those rules?
No, I've not seen the rules. And I've not, when the clerk came out to give me the rules, he said, don't give it to him. That doesn't make any sense.
Like I said, the only other thing I think might be an issue is if you somehow are interfering with court proceedings or anything like that.
I think I was just, that's it. I wasn't being, I was talking in the same level as I'm talking to you. I'm a very respectful person. I'm not trying to break the law. I'm not trying to, agitate anybody. I'm here to peacefully exercise my First Amendment right. That's all I'm doing. And if there's a rule, I just wanted to see it. No, it should be posted. I said it should be clear and conspicuously posted for the public to see. You can't just say, oh, there's a rule that, no hats allowed, but then there's no rule posted. Like, it needs to be clear and conspicuously posted. I've dealt with these kinds of rules before.
But I think that's more dress code for court appearances.
Right. And then I saw a sign on the courtroom door that says there is no electronic devices allowed in the courtroom. So again, everything I'm seeing is not telling me that I'm doing anything wrong.
From everything you told me, I don't see how any laws, obviously, but court rules, if you're in violation of some sort of court rule, they would have to charge you with contempt, which is a judge.
Right. And that's what I was explaining. That's what I was explaining to the officer here, that I'm not breaking any laws. If there's a rule, then sure, the judge can do
a contempt of court.
Contempt of court.
On them,
right.
It's not something we charge with.
Right.
So I can go inside, see where Officer Lohr is. And
again, you could take a look. There's no signs or anything. I think it's reasonable to ask. I'm not in a courtroom. I'm not filming anything confidential. I think it's reasonable to ask, can I see a copy of the rules? That's it. No, and I think that's a pretty reasonable request. But the court administrator, Scott, he just didn't want to. He was letting his ego get the best of him. I deal with law enforcement all the time. I'm not anti-law enforcement. I'm just pro-rights. That's it. And pro-transparency. Hey, sir.
So this is the municipal code. This is all filed through the Ohio Supreme Court and is approved by them.
Okay.
And it's because of the size of our court, they said, when you're going upstairs, there's a chance you could be filming victims of crimes and all that, which they have to protect the victims of crimes. Okay.
Well, couldn't you film victims? I understand what you're saying, and I no problem with it. I'm just saying you could film victims of crimes on the sidewalk walking into the court, right?
There's a higher chance that you're going to be videotaping the victim in that room than out here, I guess.
Right. Well, anybody that walks in could potentially be a victim. That's what I'm talking about. How would I know up there?
No, I'm saying, how would you know that they're actually going into the court?
Right. Oh, this is the courthouse, right?
Well, if they're just out here.
I'm saying I can film anybody. I'm just saying the reasonableness of it, I understand. I'm just saying the reasonableness of me to, that I can film everybody walking in, but once they're in, you can't film them anymore because I can film right here from the sidewalk, right? I'm just saying. Go ahead, sir. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead, sir.
In this, they said they don't normally have to give it to you. They said that you can find all this online.
Yeah, that's what they told me.
The Ohio Supreme Court and all that. You can find the local law,
right?
Local codes and all that. Okay. So in this packet, Rule 9.04, video recording prohibited. The use of video recording or videotaping devices and the use of still photography devices inside the Perrysburg Municipal Court shall be prohibited.
Right.
Okay. So under that code right there, that's the reasoning for why you can't be up in there, okay? All this is approved and everything by the Ohio Supreme Court.
Right.
So it's coming down from them. It's not just...
And that's all I wanted to see was the actual...
The sergeant cites Rule 9.04, approved by the Ohio Supreme Court. While the First Amendment grants the right to record in public, judges have broad discretion to set rules of superintendence for security within courthouses, creating a complex conflict between administrative orders and constitutional rights.
all I wanted to see was the
And they said
rule.
you can have this.
Okay, perfect.
And I have a sticky note.
I didn't want to have it. I don't need to have it.
For your concerns, I'm gonna go speak with them, see if they can maybe post that.
Right? Yeah. No. I don't even need to have it. I'll take it. But you know, I didn't want to keep it. I just wanted to see the actual rule because a lot of times people lie to me. They say, you know, you can't record in here, and then you know, it turns out I can. So I just wanted to see the rule, be advised of the rule. I'm not trying to get held in contempt of court by a judge. You know, I'm never gonna win that.
Contempt is said maybe like a disorderly because you'd have to be in front of the judge for it to be contempt. But
Right.
said,
But you could. There's such thing as indirect. And there's indirect contempt, and it's definitely, that's what he told me. He says, I said, sir, what would I be arrested for? He said, disorderly conduct. I'm like, it's not disorderly conduct. I was like, you know, it has to be some type of conduct that's actual disorderly. I know the statute. I mean, but again, I've worked with officers here in Ohio.
I'll go discuss that with you.
It could be because he told you that there was a rule against you recording and you continue to record.
Right. But that's not in and of itself disorderly conduct. It's disorderly conduct is actual my conduct that would be disorderly, not just not listening to some random guy who says that there's a rule. You know, again,
Well,
like he said, like,
he's
he's the court administrator. Right. But to me, I didn't know who he was at first. He's like, I'm not telling you who I am. At the end, sure. But he came up to me very aggressively. And again, all I wanted to see was the rule. I didn't think it was a big deal to see the rule.
Well, now that we're done with that and you have the...
Am I being detained any longer?
No, but since you were in violation, are you able to just delete the video that when you were inside? You can keep the recording of when you were outside talking with us.
Well, no, unless I'm being forced to under threat of arrest or threat of contempt, I'm not going to. Just it's my right to record.
The officer asks to delete the video, but the auditor correctly refuses. The Fourth Amendment protects citizens from unreasonable seizures of their papers and effects, which includes digital data. Police generally require a warrant to access or delete phone content, even during an arrest. Today's encounter serves as a brutal reminder that the Constitution only protects those who have the courage to enforce it against overreach. So if you refuse to be the next victim of ignorance, hit that subscribe button to arm yourself with knowledge. And remember, here at ID Refusal Central, civil rights are not a request. They are your most powerful weapon.